money's supposed to, all the money in the airplane is supposed to go to the Afghan International Bank and go to humanitarian aid. Well, a big chunk of the money comes off the airplane and goes other places, and it has 8 stops. So you ready for them? I'll just do the 8 stops and then we'll talk through each of them because it'll be easier and maybe I'll remember it better. First stop, so this is the delivery weekly of US dollars. It goes to the Prime Minister of the Taliban. So his name is Mullah Mohammed Hassan Akhund, okay? The second delivery goes to my favorite person, the Deputy Prime Minister, Mullah Barater. The third delivery goes to the GDI, who I told you is Taliban CIA. It's run by Abdul Haq Wasik, if you remember. He was one of the ones released for Bergdahl. So far, by the way, Mohammed, number 1, Barater, and Wasik, these are all sanctioned designated terrorists. So all 3 of these deliveries are against US and international law, by the way, okay? The next delivery goes to the Ministry of Interior, which I told you already is led by Sirajuddin Haqqani, and that's where all the passports are being made for terrorists. The 5th one, Siraj is double dipping. Then they do delivery to his house. So delivery number 5 goes to the home of Sirajuddin Haqqani, which should blow people's mind. This man sent 1,050 suicide bombers at US and NATO troops. Over 1,000 suicide bombers were sent by him alone. And the US is dropping cash off at his house weekly. Like, it's mind-blowing. Then, I'm almost like losing track where we are. The next delivery goes to Hibatullah Akhundzada, who's the head of the Taliban. The next delivery goes to Saif al-Adil, who is basically the head of Al-Qaeda's military commission. And then the last delivery goes to 3 people, but I think we wait, because if I do that one, we're going to have to talk about the first 7 deliveries, if that's okay.
Okay.
So we'll come back.
Let's start with number 1.
Yeah. So number 1, like I said, Prime Minister of the Taliban, designated. He's an interesting fella. He is basically... So he got put in his role because they thought, hey, he's longtime Mullah Omar supporter. He will stay in line with the Taliban. Like, he's the right person for the job. The interesting part is, publicly, he backs the head of the Taliban on everything. Privately, because during those 20 years we were fighting, he got very, very wealthy off Taliban funds and did a lot of investments in Pakistan. So he has like these natural leanings towards the Pakistanis because he has huge financial investments there. So he's kind of a little two-faced. He's playing the Taliban and playing Pakistan, right? So in case he needs the fallback location of Pakistan. And what a lot of people don't know is he's not going to be in his position long, because Hibatullah has been trying to move him out. He's trying to put his chief of staff there. But he has cancer, and so he's having to go to Pakistan for cancer treatments, as you can imagine, because 5 million people fled Afghanistan, and who all fled? The educated, the good doctors. So he has to go to Pakistan to get proper medical attention because he can't get in Afghanistan. So that's basically our first delivery. Second delivery, like I told you, goes to Mullah Barater, who we already talked about, right? Went to Iran, made this deal with the Iranians and Al-Qaeda to send Al-Qaeda guys to attack U.S. and Israeli troops. Huge violation of the Doha deal. Just the Iran, just this Iran deal. Huge violation, right? There are so many violations of this Doha deal we have with the Taliban, and no one's negating it and keeps letting this money come. But even well before the fall of Kabul, there is a huge violation of the Doha deal. Like, the Taliban detained an American named Mark Frykes, right? And basically what happened is we had a special envoy before West who was just as bad as West, with his Ross Wilson. And he knew the Taliban detained Mark, and they downplayed it because they didn't want this fake peace deal to go through. So like, no, it's not the Taliban, it's people trying to ruin peace. And they downplayed it. And then, of course, around the fall of Kabul is when we got Mark, after the fall, and we released him for the #1 narco trafficker in Afghanistan that the Taliban were under, right? So the Taliban had him the whole time. Basically, the State Department lied and downplayed it to keep the Doha deal going. So just let you know this.
Can you explain the Doha deal real quick?
Yeah.
So everybody understands what that is.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even understand the Doha deal, but yeah. Doha deal was essentially the U.S. brokered what they call a peace deal, but it's not. They brokered a deal only with the Taliban for the future of Afghanistan. And in this deal, basically, they made all these promises